So I just found these sour Mike and Ikes, and these are already my favorite candy, but I think this one specifically is my favorite now. Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Adrian, this is Uno. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Shit. Cue the intro.
Let's talk about shit. Talk about shit.
These are really fucking good, wow. Alright, so today's video is gonna be another one of those like rant type things. Because today we're gonna be talking about how I genuinely believe I am the fucking king of pettiness. Because, holy shit. So recently I started talking to one of my exes again after not talking to her for I think it's been like a while since I've had a genuine conversation with her. And we were talking about certain things like from before, just catching up in general as well. And one of the topics was how I am extremely petty for like the stupidest reasons. And that is a fact. I am incredibly fucking petty. Now here's the thing, I'm not petty because I want to be an asshole. I'm petty just because that just naturally runs in my family. Me, my mom, me, my sister, me, my aunts and cousins, every single one of them is petty. No matter what you do. They will remember something that you did in the past and then come back and use it against you. I know I have family that watches this, so if you're a female from my family, you know this is true. Don't even cop. But here's the thing, right? I feel like most people are petty just because that is their form of, not killing somebody. Because if I wasn't allowed to be petty, if being petty wasn't a thing, I would have probably been in jail so long ago. I like being petty because I like getting revenge. I like getting back at people. It's really fun and, it's much easier than doing other things, and also, even though sometimes it may take a lot of effort to be petty at somebody, it's always worth it in the end. At least for me, that's how I've always seen it. But here are a few things that I have done that I believe make me petty as hell. And if I'm not the petty king, well, I'm definitely up there with levels of pettiness because I am petty. All right, number one, and this actually has to do with my ex that we were talking about. So basically, right, what happened one time is we were gonna hang out, right? I was waiting for her at her place because she had to go get something for her mom, right? And she was like, hey, I'm gonna get some food. What do you want? And I was like, oh, bet, right? So she was getting Popeyes. And here's the thing, man. I love Popeyes, if you can't tell. And so I asked her for the spicy chicken sandwich with a large mac and cheese and the frozen strawberry lemonade because all of those things are fire and they are, they're just fucking great, right? So I asked her for this and then now I'm patiently waiting for my food. And when she arrives, she comes back with a very tiny bag and I'm praying to God, right? I already low-key knew that she probably did what I thought she did, right? Because there's no way in hell that she ordered that small amount of food. So when I ask her, hey, where's my food? She goes, oh, I forgot it. Now listen, man, there are very few things that piss me off in a relationship, and it's two things, right? It's two very small things. Actually, no, that's cap. It's two very big things, and they're the reason why they piss me off. Number one, cheating. I think that's very self-explanatory, but number two is fucking with my food. And yes, forgetting my food falls into that category. I've already talked in past videos as to how I feel about my food, and my food is something very sacred to me. I feel like this goes for most people. But I will kill you if you fuck with my food. I don't share my food with anybody. Actually that's cap. I share my food with very few people. And even when I do, it's like the tiniest bits of pieces, right? These Mike and Ikes, for example, right? My sister asked me for some, want to know what I did? I gave her half of one. And then I gave her actual 2 full ones. But still, you get my point. So she forgets my food and I'm like, okay, in my head, I was thinking of all the possible scenarios of how to get rid of a body that night, but I was like, you know what, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna leech off of your food. And she was not very happy about that, but guess what? I didn't care. I still did it. But listen, that whole thing of forgetting my food, it stayed up here. I remembered, right? Trust. So fast forward a few weeks, right? I'm on my way to her place. And I'm getting Chick-fil-A. There's a Chick-fil-A relatively close to her house. So I'm getting Chick-fil-A. And she calls and she's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm on my way to your house just getting some Chick-fil-A, right? And then she's like, oh yeah, can you get me something? And in my head, I clicked and I was like, yes, I'll get you some food. So she goes ahead and asks for a 12-piece nugget with a large waffle fry and a lemonade with no ice, right? So I was like, okay, I got you. I'll remember that. So you already know, I'm petty. And no, I didn't forget her food. No, I did something even better than that. I got her back at where it hurts more. Because what hurts more than somebody forgetting your food is them getting that, but getting you less of it, right? So I went ahead, I got her a 5-piece nugget meal with a small waffle fry and a large lemonade with extra ice.
You monsters! You'll pay for that!
Needless to say, when I got to her place and gave it to her, she was very much upset. And I was there like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's exactly what you asked me for. Oh, I just realized this box has a push to open right here. Oh well. Next thing that I believe that makes me petty, and I'm gonna be definitely considered an asshole for this one, but I don't care. Freshman year, right? Your boy was a very smart kid. I was in biology at the time, right? I took 2 sciences that year. I took physics and biology. But I was in biology, and in that class, it was mixed. It was freshmen and sophomores, right? And I was one of the very few freshmen in that class. I believe there was only like 4. There was a group project, right? And I am put with 3 of the laziest motherfuckers in that class, right? But I was like, all right, it's fine, whatever. We could probably get this done. I'm gonna ask them nicely to do their work, right? Yeah, no, that didn't work. Basically, we had to build a model, right? She gave us like the entire semester to do this. We basically had to build a model of an environment and like show what happens when like, I forgot what it's called, but like when an outside thing that doesn't belong there is introduced to the environment and starts to invade, all that bullshit. We had to build a model of that, right? And so I went ahead and I started like doing the research on it and working, and these 3 fuckers did nothing. And they kept asking me, hey bro, how's the project going? How's the project going? All right, good, right? So then comes 2 weeks before the project, right? And we are reminded that this thing even exists. And obviously, when I asked these 4 guys, hey, have you guys done any of the work? They're like, oh, nah, bro, like, it's all right. Like, we'll start working on it now. Don't worry, little bro. We got you, right? So comes the day of the damn, comes the day of presentation, right? And obviously ours isn't done, right? But I prepared for this, and I went ahead and I built my own tiny model of this thing. It wasn't anywhere near as big as anybody else's, but it was something, you know, I built it, right? And so I pull up and they're like, hey, yo, I knew little bro would pull through and all this shit, right? Yeah, no. So we go up there, we present our piece, right? And, you know, none of them know what the fuck they're doing. I'm carrying the whole thing. I'm giving the verbal presentation and everything and answering all the questions. I was prepared for this shit. And so when the presentation ends, right? She's like, wow, like, this is very good. Like, I'm very proud of you, right? And then one of these fuckers, I wasn't gonna do this already, but this guy just sealed the deal. He was like, yeah, like I'm gonna do this now, right? So, like, you know, the teacher's like praising us, oh my god, this and that, right? And then this guy goes ahead and says, yeah, it was a lot, but you know, hey, we all pulled through and did that, right? This man was asking to die. So I waited after class, and then I walk up to my teacher, right? After everybody has left, it's just me and the teacher, right? And I go, hey, I just want to let you know that, like, I'm the only one that did any work on this, like, project. These three didn't do shit the entire semester. And thankfully she responded and was like, hey, look, don't worry. I know they didn't do anything, and their grade is gonna suffer for it. Don't worry, you're good, honey, you can go. Now, let's just say, these 3 had to go to summer school because they failed the science. And here's the last one, bro. And this last one genuinely pisses me off because this was betrayal. This wasn't even just something where I was like, oh, I'm gonna be petty back. No, this was straight up betrayal, bro. It was like when Mufasa's face of realization that fucking Scar is about to launch him off the goddamn mountain. That's the face of betrayal I had. I trusted this fool. But that's my fault, but don't worry, he paid back for it. So this was in my senior year, right? And we were in a class, and this class, it was pretty easy. It was pretty dope. It was a film class, and I loved this class so much, man. It was so fun, right? But one day, right, he decided to do some Kahoot with us, right? And as many of you know, Kahoot is awesome. It is literally the best fucking thing that you can do in school, bro. I loved Kahoot. And this entire class loved Kahoot, right? Now, at the time, I was sitting next to pretty much like this one guy that was a big jokester. He didn't really give a fuck about much things, and he liked to fuck with the teacher, especially this one, right? So we were in that class and we were about to do Kahoot, and he decides to start putting in the random names. Oh god, teachers hate that bullshit, right? But this teacher was already sick of it because every single time we would do Kahoot, it would be like 3 times of him resetting the whole thing. And then getting botted with names, right? Because this guy would do that. He would go to that website where you can get like Kahoot bots, and it would spam them into the lobby. Right? So I look over to this guy and I'm like, hey yo dog, come on, like this time let's not do it. Because the last time this guy, like, we almost like couldn't do it and we had to do like worksheets. And so he's like, nah bro, don't worry, like I'm not gonna do this time. Like trust me, like I don't even feel like fucking with him today, right? And the teacher decides to make a joke and he's like, now let's see how many times we have to reset this game, right? Now I look over to my friend, only to see this fucker with the biggest grin on his face, and then he shows me his phone, about to press the OK for the bots to join the lobby. I wanted to kill him, but he goes ahead and presses the button anyways. And obviously my teacher is completely unfazed by this. He's used to this by now, alright? He's done trying, okay? This is like when the Spartans saw the other army that they were gonna fight in 300, and they were like, nah, we're chilling, bro. I don't give a fuck. As a matter of fact, I think he took this year off because of how sick he was with people's shit. Anyway, so he sees this and he's like, oh my god, alright, let's reset this thing, right? And by this point, nobody finds it funny anymore. It's annoying. Because, like, dude, having to reset the entire thing every time. Like, at first it was funny the first 2 times, but this was like the 5th time he was doing it. We were all sick of it. But nobody knew who it was. I knew who it was, but nobody else knew who it was. So he resets the thing, and then this kid goes ahead and does it again. And then the teacher does this. Jesus Christ. He goes up and says, look, it's not funny anymore. Can we just get the Kahoot done? Obviously, kid doesn't get the hint, and he does it again. Now listen, this teacher has to have been sick of it by this point, because once he sees the bots pop up again, this guy slams his desk and stands up and he's like, alright, who's doing it? I want to know right now. We're not starting this Kahoot until I find out who it is. Whole room goes silent. Nobody talks, right? And then this guy, my so-called friend, a person who I thought was, you know, my homie, somebody that I could trust, raises his hand and he's like, yeah, mister, I'm sick of it too. It's Adrian. I looked at him I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset. I felt betrayed. I turned to this motherfucker and I looked at him like, you motherfucker. So I get banned from playing Kahoot, right? But no, that's fine. Don't worry. That's fine. In my head, I was like, I'm gonna get back at this nigga, right? Now, what this nigga didn't know, right, is I take things to the next level. He didn't think that I would try to get back at him, right? So you wanna know what I did? You wanna know what I did? Right? He, a long time ago, has sent me this picture of him, right? When he, like, completely fucked up his hair and everything, right? Had braces, basically looked ugly as hell, right? And it was one of his biggest fears that picture would get out, because when he was in elementary school, he got bullied heavily for having braces and for having that fucked up haircut. And just because I am gonna choose not to be this petty, I'm not gonna put the picture up on screen. But if I was a lesser person than I already am now, I would have definitely put it up. But basically, in this class, there was this girl that he was trying to get at for the longest time, right? So I walk into that class, right? I wait a few minutes. Everybody's doing this like journal entry that we're supposed to do at the beginning of every class, and everybody has to use their phones in order to do the research for it. So I waited until everybody was on their phone, including this girl, right? And then I proceeded to airdrop to every single person in this room that picture. I airdropped it to everybody. The look on this man's face when he saw that I was asking to airdrop that to him, he looked up from his desk, looked at me, and I was there smiling like, sup? That happened. Everybody saw that picture. People started laughing, but like we didn't make that big of a commotion. But needless to say, that girl definitely saw the picture, and he never ended up getting with her. So yeah, that's why I'm petty as hell. If you got any better stories, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how petty people get over stupid shit. But besides that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so it would mean the world to me if y'all would subscribe. And yeah, with all that being said, it's Aiden and Uno Twisms.